Willful ignorance. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the real pandemic in the world today. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to explain to you why this is so important and why I'm making a whole video, because I've noticed that we are talking about so many issues in the world, right? Everybody's got something they care about. Everybody's got a movement that they're a part of, blah, 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 okay? Right, we're all wearing our t-shirt of who we represent, but there's something we're all still doing that is problematic and is continuing a lot of these issues that we face. And that, my friends, is willful ignorance. If you don't know what that is, I'm going to explain it right now. Obviously, being ignorant is being unaware of, not knowing something that's happening, right? I don't know the official definition, but that's my definition. If you need to go and Google it for yourself, go and find the dictionary for yourself. You got it. You good, right? You good. Anyway, and doing that willfully is problematic. Now, there are many things in this life, guys, that we don't know. Like, we genuinely don't know. And that's how willful ignorance works. Because people be like, I didn't know that was happening, and I didn't understand, and I didn't see it. And if I had seen it, or if I'd understood, or if I whatever, then I would have done something, but I didn't see it. And this is what people do today. And they lie to themselves because you actually chose to ignore something that you definitely saw. And we've all done it. I've done it. This is how I know it's real. If you have an experience, we're all human beings, right? There's nothing, even the Bible says there's nothing new under the sun. Nothing is new that's happening. And we all know there have been times that something was happening and you may have chosen to willfully pretend you didn't see it happening, to the extent where, now what then happens in the extreme cases, which when I say in extreme cases, I think these are actually quite common, when something happens as a result of the choice of willful ignorance, people want to be like, oh no, we never saw that coming. We didn't know. If I'd have known, I would have done this. And that's where we have the problem of willful ignorance. That's where we have the issue of willful ignorance. I'll give you guys an example, right? Let's say you've got somebody who, and these are the types of things, and this is, I'll tell you why this is especially important. This is especially important as far as like mental health and stuff, because everyone's all like, yeah, we're here for mental health and we support mental health. I'm like, but you don't, because when some people are clearly showing signs that they're struggling in their mental health, you rather judge them, you rather cancel them and everything, right? And then if they then end up unaliving themselves and you realize, oh, they were doing drugs and they were abusing alcohol and they were, lashing out or whatever because they were going through some stuff, then you're like, oh no, if I'd have known, it's like, no, the fact they were behaving that way is how you should have known, and you willfully chose not to, because dealing with that or addressing that or seeing that or acknowledging that, right, you didn't want to do that. Right, and I'm not saying that we're all 100%, I'm not saying we're all responsible for everybody, but what I am saying is sometimes you're in a position where, if it's somebody that that's clearly struggling, like to me, I don't look at somebody who's abusing substances or is doing whatever and think, oh my gosh, here they go again, the addicts or the whatever. I wonder what led up to this person to get there, This is what I'm talking about when I say willful ignorance. Because if we all care, and the reason why I'm talking about this is because we have this idea in society, all of this social action, blah, blah, blah. It's all based on the fact that we care so much about the world and each other. And we care about humankind and freedom and free will and making sure everybody's looked after. So if that's the truth, then you got to be prepared. Like, to me, you can love, do you know how easy it is to love somebody when everything is easy? That's why a lot of relationships today, friendships, even like romantic relationships, a lot of these relationships today, they're superficial, because people will be friends until that person starts to go through something, and then now, because they don't want to go chill with you the way that they used to, now because actually they're not even leaving their room, they're struggling, instead of you being understanding and being there for them and realizing, oh, something's wrong, that addressing that, you'd rather be willfully ignorant, because you'd rather be off going and having fun with your friends and going and doing things without that person than dealing with what they're going through. And that's just on a relational basis, but this goes worldwide, and this goes to the things of the world. We see things, we see information clearly that is going against that information that clearly we should be acting on, right? We see signs of things. For example, and I'm talking about this, an example of this, I tweeted on the Queendom TV Now Twitter page, so go and check that out. I'm not always on there, but I am on there sometimes, and you can tag me and I will see. If you tag me in something, I will check it. Anyway, so I posted on there because basically the study that it's now been found that a lot of this medication that is being given to people, these antidepressants, right? These antidepressants are being found that they never did what they said they were going to do from the beginning. And one of the things that I find interesting about the antidepressants in particular is the fact that on the antidepressant label, it says, a lot of them, what's one of the side effects? Suicidal ideation. So if you're going to use your logical brain, you don't need to be a scientist. You don't need to be however level of intelligence you think you need to be. If you're using your own brain, like your own brain and your own logic, oh, I have been considering unaliving myself and I want to get help. Okay, the help I've been offered is called antidepressants and I am depressed. Great. Oh, but the antidepressants say that one of the side effects is suicidal ideation. Yay! That sounds like a solution. Like, no, that's not a solution. It's clearly not a solution. It's clearly an issue. And that's why, guys, willful ignorance is the biggest pandemic. It's a disease because it always backfires on us. It does not benefit you. I promise you, it does never benefit you to willfully ignore stuff that is in front of your face. Because a lot of the time when you're getting that opportunity, this is why when people say stuff like, oh, God never gave me a chance, God just does this, I'm like, listen, sometimes the way God is trying to give people chances is by you hearing the truth or seeing something in front of you, it not adding up, and you being given the opportunity, like, hey, I'm trying to let you know, I'm trying to let you know, right? And I remember even on the subject of this in particular, right, there was a show that I was watching, I can't remember where it was, but it was one of these like mini series, and basically this family had like lost one of their children. It was like a mum and dad, and then the boy and girl who were twins, but then the boy twin, he, you know, decided to unalive himself. As the story progresses, they're being very quiet about like what went down, how he actually ended up in that state, whatever. And like I said, just to put this aside, of course, I'm not saying this solves every case. I'm giving examples of different things. Everybody's different issues, problems, experiences are all complicated, unique, and individual. So there we go. Just putting that out there. But anyway, so what happened in the end was that all the family were upset. Everybody was blaming one another. How did we not know? Blah, blah, blah. You know, the usual things that happen with people who are, when they've lost somebody because somebody's unalived themselves, right? Now, I think that's a horrible situation to be in, and I think being in that type of situation and the guilt that people must feel who are around that person is horrendous, right? So I'm not talking about people who genuinely care and genuinely try their best. I'm talking about people who ignore stuff. Anyways, so in the end, it all turned out that this young man's mum, she had read the side effects of this medication, and the husband was the one who worked it out, because the husband was like, wait a minute, you read every single ingredient of every single thing that comes into this house, like whether it's the food, whether it's the medication, whatever it is, there is no way you did not see that thing there, right? And so she then broke down. She's like, no, I didn't. And it was that moment of like, she deep down probably knew she had been willfully ignorant. She knew deep down she had been willfully ignorant, but she chose it anyway, and then she stuck on that path, and it cost the life of her son. And I'm not saying that I'm blaming her, because I think blaming people for people dying it's a lot of weight to bear. But the fact is, willful ignorance, this is the result of willful ignorance. You know, there would have been a difference if she potentially had said, you know what, you guys are saying that he needs antidepressants, but these antidepressants say one of the side effects is suicidal ideation, and he's already having that. So now you're putting that on steroids, right? What are we going to do? Are we going to say, oh, well, this is at least a medication, it might work, there's a small chance, we'll just do it anyway? Or are we going to fight harder? And this is why I think people are willfully ignorant, by the way. This is a perfect representation, because people are hoping that in their willful ignorance, something else is going to solve it. Something else is going to make it get better. Somebody else is going to step in. And the reality is, I'll tell you something, a lot of the times if something is being brought to your attention, that's the God's way of saying that this is your problem. This might be your problem to deal with right now. This might be